Hello everyone, Dr. Kellie Cassidy, Clinical Psychologist and owner at Cassidy Psychology in Mount Pleasant and Canning Vale. Today I'm bringing you tip number 6 in our 10 tip series of things to help you flourish and thrive in your life. Our ebook that is coming out in October. Tip number 6 is cope with negative thoughts. Now we know that our thinking has a really big impact on how we feel and in turn what we do. So if we're not catching out those thoughts, if we're not aware of what we're thinking about, chances are that could be having a really big impact on how we're feeling and how we're managing. If we know that particularly things like depression and anxiety, our thinking has a lot to do with it. Now, importantly, I need you to know that our brain is actually wired to think in pretty negative ways. And there's a survival element to that. You know, if we're always thinking the worst and we're aware of things that might go wrong, chances are we put safety mechanisms and protection mechanisms in place to keep us alive. So the brain is always going to think negatively. And we can't stop that from happening because in a lot of instances it's helpful to us. However, on a day-to-day basis, we're not in imminent danger more often than not, so we don't need that part of our brain, but it's still there and it's still operating. What you need to know though is that research has shown that we can shift our brain into thinking more positively, more helpfully. And in fact, by noticing the things that go well in your day and taking the time to store them away in memory, you will actually feel better. Okay, and it simply takes 20 seconds. If something good happens, it might be something as simple as someone held a door open for you and helped you out. And if you take the time to really be aware and notice that, and that it made you feel good when that person helped you, it gets laid down in your memory and you're more likely to draw on that later on in the day rather than thinking about all the things that went wrong, perhaps. So we can train our brain to think more positively. What you might want to do to deal with negative thoughts if you're noticing that you are having lots of unhelpful thoughts is to maybe keep a bit of a diary. Notice what's going on in your mind and what you've been thinking about, and see if there are some what we call unhelpful thinking styles happening. Are you always thinking the worst? Excuse me. Are you always blaming yourself? Are you always what would be another one? Thinking in black and white. You can't see the shades of grey in between. These are shortcuts that our brain takes sometimes, so it can be helpful to kind of map that out and be aware of what am I thinking and how's that affecting how I feel and what my actions are. And once you've done that, you've got a couple of choices. One of them is to start challenging that thinking and seeing how true it is. The other is to try and let go. And just let that thought disappear without really kind of getting caught up in it. There's two different ways that we as psychologists teach people how to manage unhelpful thoughts. But the biggest and hardest part of that is noticing that they're there in the first place. And so I certainly suggest that you take some time to do that. I hope that makes sense. If you need more information, let me know. If you think you might need help with unhelpful negative thoughts, come in, see a psychologist and get some help with that. That's all for me on tip number 6. I'm going to look forward to bringing tip number 7 to you very, very soon. But for now, as always, here at Cassidy Psychology, we're working together with you to help you flourish and thrive. Bye for now.